Okay, people. Do you see this horse here? Right here? This one right here? It's a little rocking horse, okay? We just found that, me and my little grandson coming home today. I take this as a sign, okay? I take this as a sign because for the last week, ever since this bathroom situation with this porch and all this other stuff in my own personal life with this stupid house, you know, I'm so depressed because my landlord wants another $200 or more to pay half for this porch, which needed to be replaced when I moved in, okay? So I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. All I know is I was up by the homeless shelter here because I'm kicking out my daughters. My daughters don't want to help me, right? Not really. You know, my oldest daughter, she can't live here right now anyway, and I don't really want to live with her at this point in life. And my younger daughters, you know, they're too busy with their boyfriends. You know, it's all about their boyfriends and being all grown up before they're even adults. So, you know, if that's the way it is, then get the hell out. Right? You take all my towels from upstairs, you take them downstairs, you use them, you scatter them around, and when I say, well, where's my towels? Why are my towels downstairs? Why don't you wash my towels for me? Bring them back upstairs. I didn't use no towels. They're not my towels. I'm tired of it, people. So anyway, I went up by the homeless shelter there, trying to figure out who I can rent this room out to. Well, my son is saying to me, Mom, what is it with these homeless people? And this is a shout out to Global News, by the way, because if you noticed, I'm doing the video at home. I didn't want to bring the camera today with me with my Marex hat. There it is right there, people. Can you see it? Okay. I didn't bring it with me because I don't want the people out there to think that it's all about propaganda, you know, all about just got to be up in front of the camera with my Marex hat pretending I'm somebody in a bag of chips, right? But Global News was out there because the people out there right now are getting real tired of having their stuff rifled through, probably illegally, 2 times a day because they're homeless and they're out in the fucking streets. And then their stuff gets taken, thrown out, rifled through, sold off, right, bartered with. Who knows what happens with it once it's picked up by the city, okay? I don't think it's all going in the garbage. This is like legalized theft. And for what purpose? There's a homeless shelter out there. These people have no place to go. And that's what I told my son. There is a high need out there right now. Well, I'm talking to a woman. And I said, I'm kicking out my daughters. I'm looking for somebody responsible that just wants to get their life in order. You know, focus. This is what you get. You know, would you be interested in something like that? Well, yeah, but... You know, she's got some issues with drugs. And then she goes on to say that 99% of the people out there got issues with drugs. I don't know. First of all, that's one individual broad sweeping a whole subgroup of our culture into you know, the criminalization of the poor. Even the poorest of the poor criminalize themselves. Anyway, I don't know how I'm going to do this other than I printed out 63 pages plus of the demographics of Surrey from 2006 to 2011. I haven't really read it yet. Only blits and blurbs. And then I printed it out district to district all across the province. So not only do I have the demographics of Surrey, but I've got, you know, the general demographics of the province in terms of district to district. So I'm going to try and take this information over the next little while and try and bring it to the wipeout board, because I keep talking about this wipeout board, but of course I never have no freaking time to do anything around here except work for my landlord for free, right? Well, he sits there and I'm sure he's watching my videos, but you go ahead and you watch the videos because maybe you'll learn something that people after 24 years. Let's start with that. 24 years. 24 years. Why do we have homeless people 24 years later? Well, I'll tell you why. Because in 24 years, I can guarantee you, I have spent more than $500,000 in somebody else's mortgage. Okay? They're not my mortgages. That's somebody else's mortgage. And out of that percentage, out of 100%, you can almost guarantee 80% of that, if not more, went into the Punjabi community. Yeah, you see communists, people. Okay? So that's what? $400,000 I have paid out in mortgages to support the Punjabi community. Because when you go to the demographics right here, you're going to find out that they're almost a 50-50 in Surrey. 400 and some odd thousand people, 400,000 people in Surrey right now from the 2011 consensus, with the Punjabi community coming in with the largest immigration population. 63 pages I have to go through, people, just for Surrey. And they're coming in with the highest percentage of immigrants coming into Canada, migrating into Surrey. And we get stuck with these houses, us poor people, because that's what happens. When you're on welfare and you got a family, you don't got too many choices. 24 years later, you do the math, you find out that you spent $400,000 to prop up their community. But I don't see them stepping up, propping up us. I don't. Any more than I see the politicians. So no sellout politicians allowed in this fucking camp. Okay? The people are rallying out on the streets right now. They're taking it to City Hall. They're tired of having your stuff being rifled through, thrown out in garbage and taken and sold off and bartered with day after day, 2 times a day, with the city councils using public services such as the police department to do their dirty work. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about. I kind of wanted to talk about the nonprofit and the fact that I got some beautiful coins here, people. My son's standing there and he's making me nervous. Anyway, but we found this horse today, me and my little grandson, coming back from the homeless shelter, looking for a tenant that doesn't mind, you know, being responsible. Unlike my daughters. This has nothing to do with you, son. So I take this as a sign. Because I haven't been wanting to make any videos. Remove yourself before you knock my camera down. Go back. I'm talking. Please, let Nana finish what she has to finish. Because I've been so depressed with this house that I just, like I said, last video, my spirit's getting kind of broken here. Right? Because I'm working, paying, working, paying. And for what? Well, why are you out here on the street? I got some woman. Get your little grandson out of here. There's no place for him to be. I said, excuse me? I said, he's been out here since he's a baby. And it's not nobody he ain't going to meet right next in the grocery line, at the grocery store, at the corner store, or walking through the path. All right? Like, criminalizing, they've got these people so conditioned that they're criminalizing each other out there. So anyway, we found this little horse. This little rocking horse. Isn't that amazing? And I'm like, that's a sign. Because I just came home a few days ago. I'm going to bring it a little closer later. With this collector's coin. It's 0.99999% silver. It came from the Royal Canadian Mint. It has papers. I got another one here too. This one's just a 1 ounce silver coin. So far I have 2 horses, 2 silvers, but because I have children, I have to think about my kids. I can't always think about the community. So I'm going to order 1 more horse, 1 more silver, and then I'm networking with some women in the United States of America, and we're going to set up a little online fundraiser, and we're going to start fundraising for community development programs around the horse. These are coins, Year of the Horse, 2014. Collectors. And we're going to raffle them off. We only need 20,000 donors. $50 each. That'll bring in $1 million that will be put into BC to build in programs so that we can get some horses into the inner city out here. So that these people, right, have something to look forward to. So the inner city kids that are growing up in these apartment buildings before they get flushed out into the streets after they pay, and their parents pay, and because it's a perpetual cycle. Poverty is very hard to break. It's generational. And this is why. Because when we're done, we come back with nothing. Well, we're still paying, just like my landlord wants me to pay for that broken down freaking roof. That roof that should have been changed when I first moved in. Huh? Enough is enough. So, I got to order One more each, so that I can take a box. There, I got a couple of these. But I want one horse one for my kids, so that when I die, they can say, Mom didn't give everything away. She saved us one. And then, once I get the second one coming in, I'm going to set up an online fundraiser with a lady from Florida that works with horses, knows the industry, and we're going to start in BC. And once we get the one going in BC, we're going to network out and we're going to franchise out via through the foundation, because that's what I do. I work on a legitimate foundation. And we're going to bring in these national telethons for change. But in the meantime, we're working on a community level. And I just want you to know, I'm arming myself. Okay? This is out global news. I told you. You need to drop the spin. You need to drop the propaganda. Huh? Easy to talk to a shadow worker. Huh? You didn't want to talk to me today, though, did you? But if you notice, as soon as I opened up my mouth out there in the fucking streets, the men started to step up to the plate and things started to stir. So I'm going to leave it at that. Keep it short and sweet. Okay, people, so I'm back here. I was talking to my son. Obviously, when he comes in, you know, I get a little on guard because we get into these massive debates. And, because he's intelligent, right? He's going into his 5th year of freaking college, going into university now. He might even become a doctor. Threw that one out me just about two months ago. So, who knows? Irregardless, though, when I do have these conversations with my son, and I point these things out, right? He says, well, you know, Mom, you can't be race specific. You know, you can't just pick on the, you know, the South Asian community. You know? Because if you went and lived in a Chinese community and the majority of the landlords were Chinese, you know, you're going to get the same problem. So it has nothing to do with being a South Asian or a Chinese or a white person or... But at the end of the day, he respects the fact that we live in, namely, an all-white with a few minority immigrant in terms of Fijis and Africans and people from Lebanon, and then the majority, the bulk of the immigrant population that's migrated into Surrey and continued to move in is from South Asia. Like they like to call themselves South Asian, right? Some people know them as East Indian, Punjabi, Hindus, that kind of stuff, right? Back in the day when my mom was alive and young and I was just a little kid, people referred to them as East Indian. Either or, they all come from India with their different forms of politics. And then it breaks into Hindu, which is a religion, Punjabi, which is a religion, Sikhism, which is a religion. Punjabi is kind of like a language too, right? Point is, Surrey has a very large immigrated population of people from South Asia. They bring in the largest population of new immigrants. This is what this is about, people. Like I did a little bit of browsing quickly, right? And they capture the majority of the rental market because they have a stronghold from, you know, back in the day when the government decided that it wasn't going to be, you know, racist against this particular minority group. They brought in tax credits through the federal government for home, you know, first home ownership and stuff. So the Punjabi community never really established their home ownership until the federal government came in and helped them with it. Because they came, they were being racist, you know, people were being racist against them. They had to work for $1 an hour, you know, in berry fields and whatever. And they were not buying houses. And, you know, the government decided to try and give them some tax credits. This was years and years and years and years and years. Something that they forgot about. Okay? And now, because they own large swaths of property, sometimes whole blocks in Surrey, and they've accumulated great wealth, because when you get people like me and the generation before me and the generation before her paying out this kind of money for these mortgages that we get absolutely $0 back on the investment on our part, plus we pay more because we have to, you know, we paint, we do repairs, you know, we get stuck out in yards like me and we have to buy tools and nails and wood, and, you know, sometimes we do 50-50 with our landlords because the landlord is taxed out with their taxes and their bills, and we just want the job done, so we're going to fork out even more money on top of our rent to get porches fixed that should have been fixed a long time ago. And then if we don't like it, well, we can move. And I told my son, as much as I love you, son, I just told him, he just left, right? I said, as much as I love you, do you honestly think that at 63 years old, I want to be washing the floor up after you just so that I don't end up, myself, homeless? After paying out this kind of money to a community that is yet to stand up and help me with the foundation that I work on and that I have been working on for 14 years? We're not talking about the Chinese community because I don't live in the Chinese community. But we can almost guarantee the same kind of thing would happen. Right? Because racism is racism. Because to me, this is a form of racism. Do not go near my cords. Do you see that? You're going to pull down the camera. Stay. Don't.
Well, I'm waiting for the chocolate.
Andre, can I just do my video? Can you wait?
Well, where do you put it?
I don't know. But can you go wait? Don't interrupt me.
Okay, I go find it.
No, because the cord is there. You'll break the camera.
Okay.
Andre, go sit down and wait or you'll get no more chocolate.
Ask her?
After. Thank you.
Okay, I like that.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. And these people that are homeless, are they the ones that brought in the drugs into our community? In big barrels and drums full? Huh? No, of course not. So why do we treat them like they are? The ones that bring in big barrels full of these drugs that infest our communities so that we have the numbers of homeless people out there after they paid their mortgages for their landlords. Because those people that are homeless right now at some point paid rent somewhere. Because none of us own houses. We are just the supplemental income to the bigger plan that doesn't necessarily include us. Okay? And so, in the last 10 years, you know, we have Mayor. 2005, she came in. I'll talk about her. Diane Watts. Right? I watched a video that was talking about Mayor McCullum, which was before 2005, and how the people out there in those days had access to no washrooms. This is why I came back, because there was more I wanted to say. But when my son is standing there listening, I'm ready for that debate, and I'm really not in the mood for a debate right now. If you want to leave a comment, you go ahead, and I'll answer it. I'm not afraid to stand by my words, okay? But in 2005, Diane Watts was elected. It's 2014 going into 2015. We just had an election in November of 2014. This woman has been in the mayor for the last 10 years or so. Prior to that, it was Mayor McCullum, a different party. And the video that I was watching was talking about there was people in there that have walked, been out in the streets, know the situation, right, have witnessed it for themselves, talked about lack of washrooms. Well, guess what we have in 2014? We have the same problem. Lack of washrooms. Lack of adequate facilities for the people that are most vulnerable in our society. Okay? We got a homeless shelter that's kicking them out at 4 o'clock in the morning, 54, 55 below weather, 40 below weather. And they're banning them and saying you're either banned for 7 days or you're banned for fucking life. Well, what kind of bullshit is that? They're homeless people. It's a homeless shelter. It should be an emergency ward, really. Right? I was out there, Global News. I called it out. You know, drop the propaganda. Get rid of the spin. Tell it what it's like really out there for these people. You know, call out the shadow workers that, you know, oh, no, we do our little outreach. We're looking to house people here. But why not tell the story? Why don't you tell the whole story? Tell them that they don't qualify So what the hell you got those workers out there for if those people don't qualify because they're using drugs? Drugs that they never brought into this community. They're the victims of those drugs, right? And you got the victim beating up on the victim. Well, the big boys roll in 2 times a day, working for the fucking city, that doesn't do anything year after year after year after year after mayor after mayor after mayor. Well, the Punjabis, the South Asians, the East Indians, the Hindus, whatever you want to call them, because they're not Chinese. We don't live in a Chinese community out here. If we went to Richmond, I'm sure we'd have the same problem. They are accumulating mass wealth. Well, I'm telling my son, well, gee, I'm 52 now. What makes you think I want to wash up after you when I'm 63? I think I might want to be homeless instead. But obviously, I don't want to be homeless. But under this plan, that's exactly where I'm going to be. I'm going to be homeless. And my son happened to take my advice. And I've been a pretty stable parent all these years. You know, we've had some rough knocks along the way, no doubt. Right? But I've always been there every day, all day long, seeing him through. He listened to me, and now he's going into his 6th year. And he's going into university now after spending all that time in college. And he's even open to the idea of becoming a doctor. So he might be one of the lucky ones that gets through this. But when he gets through, after he's through this freaking maze of propaganda, he's going to be anywhere between $100,000 to $200,000 in debt. And still pay other people's mortgages. Where are they? I don't see them. I have one new board director, but I don't know. Is he serious? Is he serious? Because he says, oh, well, I'll join your team. You know, this nonprofit is something that we need. You know, you speak about things that need to be told. You know, I admire you for at least that. But what's going to happen when I hold his community accountable? Not only the mayor and her city council, and the mayor previous to that, Diane Watson, her city council, and Mayor McCullum and his city council, because the lack of washrooms for these people is a problem. It's a problem for the teenage workers and the low-income workers that work in restaurants and have to go into the washrooms and clean up after these people because these people have nowhere else to go. So they go into public washrooms wherever they can. And if they're not going into public washrooms in restaurants, they're going into them in thrift stores. Okay? So now you got the working poor beating up on the poorest of the poor. Well, the politician, this is what they do. This is what they do. That's a house. There's another house. There's another house. And then you got a big-ass house over here. And then you got another big-ass house over here. Okay? This is my house. There's my hat right there. That's my house. You know how much this piece of property is worth with this stupid little dinky house? $550,000. Isn't that amazing? You tell me why this place is worth $550,000. My landlord can't wait to fucking get rid of it and tear it down. So they can build one of these things. So they can go up to $1 million. But in the meantime, they fill up their little suites. They put the poorest of the poor in the basement. We get the basement. Well, they live up on top. And if they ain't doing that, they're bringing their buddies from India and they're filling up the whole place. Okay? Which makes this property value, because now this one is worth $1.5 million. Because this is a little bigger than this one. The bigger the house, the more money. The more excuse to jack this one up. Well, there's pretty soon, in a couple more years, it's going to be worth $700,000. And the only thing that's happening to me and my family is we're just inching closer and closer to being out in the street. Unless, of course, I want to clean up after my son and hope that my son can make it through life. And start at the very bottom with a $200,000 debt load. before he even gets out the gate. So we got some serious problems here. I don't know how I'm going to explain it to you. I don't know what I'm trying to get out of it, other than if we're willing to have people from other countries, I don't care if it's Fiji, Africa, Lebanon, India, because it's all demographics here. It's all broken down. 320 Fiji people living in Surrey, and there's 425,000 people, and only 320 of them are living in Surrey from Fiji, but there's 200,000 people from India. Okay? So how does that work? Are the 200,000 responsible for the 320? Or is the 320 responsible for the 200,000? Because I don't see neither one of them stepping up to the plate. But everybody's crying on about the same issue. We got all these homeless people out here. Let the cops deal with it. Well, there's a reason why a lot of people are homeless. And paying, regardless whether it's a Punjabi community or a Chinese community, and always coming out with the raw end of the stick, doesn't help the situation. So, I'm going to have to get a little more strategic with it. And that's what I'm going to do. So in the meantime, I'm just going to show you these coins a little closer. Because the last video, I said I wanted to do something positive. But there never seems to be anything positive. So I'm bringing the negative and the positive together. This is the positive aspect of my nonprofit. Without my community, I don't care where you come from. Right? And this little guy showed up today, amazingly. So that's a sign. This means we're going in the right direction. This one here is for the United States of America after we finish our draw. And this one here will be for Canada. Assuming I can order one more for my kids. Because I'm not going to leave my kids out of the fray. Even though other people do. Okay, members and fans, you can watch me do this for a while. I have an annual general meeting tonight at 7 o'clock. Seriously, it's Sunday after freaking noon. This ain't no easy like Sunday bullshit crap. Now, thing is, when this new board director comes to my house tonight, he's going to see that I didn't do my dishes upstairs. None of that crap, right? And he's just going to have to understand I'm busy. Right? This man, he doesn't have all day to do this stuff, so I've offered to help him so that he doesn't use all his energy wasting his time correcting somebody else's mistakes. Because that's pretty much what it boils down to right now. Alright.